The massive ship moved slowly through the darkness of space. It was the year 2347, and humanity had finally done what they had dreamed of for thousands of years. They had built a ship that could travel faster than light. They had found other life in the universe. And now they were going to meet them. Admiral David Cole stood at the front window of the ship. He was a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had spent his whole life preparing for this moment. Behind him stood Dr. Emma Walsh, a woman who had learned to speak 12 alien languages. Next to her was General Marcus Reed, a soldier who had fought in 3 wars on Earth. "There it is," David said. Quietly, dot in front of them was the largest thing any human had ever seen. It was a space station the size of a small moon. Lights covered every part of it. Thousands of ships flew around it like insects around a lamp. This was Nexus Prime, the capital of the Galactic Council. The Galactic Council was a group of over 2,000 different alien species. They had ruled the Milky Way galaxy for more than 1,000,000 years. They had laws. They had armies. They had technology that humans could not even understand. And today, humanity was going to ask them for permission to join. Emma looked at her notes one more time. She had practiced her speech 100 times. She knew exactly what to say. "Remember," David said to his team, "we are guests here. We are the new species. We must be polite and humble." Marcus did not like this. He was a proud man, but he nodded his head and said nothing. Their ship landed inside the station. When the doors opened, David could not believe what he saw. The hallway was made of something that looked like glass, but it changed colors as they walked. Strange creatures moved past them. Some had wings. Some had tentacles. Some floated in the air. None of them looked at the humans. A small robot came to guide them. It did not speak. It just moved forward, and they followed. After walking for what felt like hours, they reached the council chamber. David stopped breathing for a moment. The room was bigger than any building on Earth. It went up and up until he could not see the ceiling. Floating platforms filled the air, and on each platform sat delegates from different species. Thousands of eyes looked down at the 3 humans. In the center of the room was a raised platform. On it stood a creature made of living crystal. It glowed with soft blue light. This was Vorath, the High Arbiter of the Galactic Council. He was over 50,000 years old. He had seen species rise and fall. He had seen wars that destroyed entire solar systems. And now he was looking at humanity. "Species number 7,421, Vorath said. His voice was cold and sharp, like breaking ice. "You call yourselves humans. You come from a small planet called Earth. You have achieved faster than light travel. You wish to join the Galactic Council." David stepped forward. His heart was beating fast, but his voice was steady. "Yes, High Arbiter. We come in peace. We wish to trade with other species. We wish to learn from you. We wish to share what we know. We believe that humanity can be a valuable member of your great council." Vorath did not move. The crystal body made a low humming sound. "We have watched your species for some time," Vorath said. "We have studied your history. We have seen your wars. We have seen how you treat each other. We have seen how you treat your own planet." David felt cold fear in his stomach. "Every species makes mistakes," David said. "We have learned from ours. We are ready to be better." Vorath made a sound that might have been a laugh. That is what they all say. The humming grew louder. Other delegates on the platforms began to whisper. Emma tried to listen, but she could not understand all of it. She heard words like dangerous and primitive and mistake. Finally, Vorath raised one crystalline arm. The room became silent. "The council has already made its decision," Vorath announced. Species 7421, designated human, is hereby prohibited from joining the Galactic Council. David felt like someone had hit him in the chest. Prohibited? He asked. What does that mean? Vareth's glow became brighter and colder. It means you are rejected. It means you are not welcome here. It means you are too dangerous, too aggressive, and too unpredictable to be trusted with galactic society. Marcus stepped forward, his face red with anger. We traveled across the stars to meet you. We came in good faith. And you reject us without even giving us a chance? Vareth looked at Marcus the way a person might look at an insect. Your reaction right now proves our point, Vareth said. You cannot even control your emotions in a diplomatic meeting. How can we trust you with the secrets of the galaxy? David grabbed Marcus and pulled him back. Please, Emma said, her voice shaking. There must be something we can do. Some test we can take. Some way to prove ourselves. Vareth shook his massive crystal head. The decision is final. From this moment forward, humanity is forbidden from colonizing any world beyond your own solar system. You are forbidden from trading with any council species. You are forbidden from building military ships that can leave your home system. You are forbidden from accessing our technology. If you break any of these rules, we will destroy your entire species. There will be no warnings. There will be no second chances. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. David looked up at the thousands of alien faces watching him. Some looked pleased. Some looked bored. None of them looked sympathetic. Why? David asked quietly. Why do you hate us so much? Vareth leaned down slightly. We do not hate you, human. We fear you. And fear is far more dangerous than hate. The safest thing for the galaxy is to keep you locked in your little corner of space until you die out naturally. And you will die out. Every primitive species does eventually. Emma translated every word for the official record. Her hands were shaking. The three humans walked out of the council chamber in silence. They walked back through the glass hallways. They walked past the aliens who still did not look at them. They walked back to their ship dot when the doors closed behind them. Marcus punched the wall so hard that he broke his hand. They treat us like animals, he said through his teeth. David sat down slowly. He looked at his hands. They expect us to give up, David said. They expect us to go home and wait to die. Emma wiped tears from her eyes. What else can we do? They have thousands of ships. They have technology we cannot fight. If we break their rules, they will kill everyone on Earth. David was quiet for a long time. The ship began to move, taking them back toward Earth, back toward their cage. Finally, David spoke. Then, we will not break their rules, he said. We will obey every single one. We will stay in our solar system. We will not trade with them. We will not build military ships. Marcus stared at him. You are just going to accept this? David looked up, and there was something new in his eyes. Something cold and patient and very, very dangerous. No, he said. I am going to wait. And while we wait, we are going to prepare. They think we are primitive. They think we will die out. They have no idea what humanity can do when we are angry and united and have nothing left to lose. The ship flew back toward Earth. Behind them, the great station grew smaller and smaller until it disappeared. The humans had been rejected. They had been humiliated. They had been caged, but they had not been broken. And somewhere deep inside David Cole, a plan was already beginning to form. A plan that would take decades. A plan that would require patience and sacrifice and brilliant minds working in secret. The galaxy had made a terrible mistake. They had given humanity a common enemy. And humanity never forgot. 50 years passed like a slow and painful dream. The Galactic Council kept their promise. They sent patrol fleets to circle Earth's solar system like wolves guarding a cage. Every few months, some brave or foolish human would try to fly a ship past the boundary. Every time, the Council ships would destroy them without a single word. No warnings, no mercy. Just bright explosions in the darkness of space that the people of Earth lived in fear and shame. They watched alien trading ships pass through their system on the way to other places. The ships never stopped. The ships never even slowed down. It was like humanity did not exist. It was like they were ghosts watching the living go about their business. Children grew up knowing that the stars were forbidden. Schools taught students about the hundreds of alien species that lived in the galaxy. They learned about the beautiful worlds they would never see. They learned about the technology they would never use. They learned that humanity was the only species in the entire galaxy that was locked away like criminals. President Laura Bennett stood in front of the United Earth Assembly in the year 2397. She was a small woman with short gray hair and fierce eyes. She had won the election 3 years ago with one simple promise. She had promised to change everything. The assembly hall was filled with representatives from every nation on Earth. Some were hopeful. Most were defeated. After 50 years of humiliation, most humans had given up. They believed what the Council had told them. They believed they were primitive and dangerous and unworthy. Lavra did not believe this. "They call us dangerous," she said, her voice strong and clear. "They call us unworthy. They have caged us in our own home and expect us to wither and die. But they have made a terrible mistake." She paused and looked at the representatives. "They have given humanity something it has never had before. They have given us a common enemy. They have given us a reason to work together. And they have given us unlimited time to prepare." One of the representatives stood up. He was an old man with a tired face. "Prepare for what?" he asked. "We cannot fight them. They have millions of ships. They have weapons that can destroy planets. What can we possibly do?" Lavra smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who knew a secret. "We can do what humans have always done," she said. "We can adapt. We can invent. We can create things that no one has ever seen before. And we can do it in secret." That night, Laura met with a small group of people in a room deep beneath the earth. No windows, no cameras, no records. Just 12 of the most brilliant minds humanity had ever produced. One of them was Dr. Nathan Cross. He was a physicist who had spent 20 years studying the Council's technology. He had found something that the Council had forgotten long ago. "Their technology is old," Nathan explained. "Very, very old. They developed it almost 500,000 years ago, and they have not changed it since. They do not innovate. They do not experiment. They found something that worked, and they stopped looking for anything better." Lavra leaned forward. "Why would they do that?" Nathan smiled. "Because they are afraid. They are afraid of change. They are afraid of new ideas. They are afraid of anything that might upset the balance of power. So they made rules. They made certain types of research illegal. They made certain technologies forbidden." "What kind of technologies?" Lavra asked. Nathan pulled up a display. It showed equations that Laura could not understand. "Wormholes," Nathan said. "Stable, controllable passages through space." The Council tried to develop this technology 1,000,000 years ago. It worked too well. It scared them. So they banned it. They destroyed all the research. They made it a crime to even study it. Lavra looked at the equations. "Can we do it?" she asked. "Can we build what they were too afraid to build?" Nathan's eyes were bright with excitement. "I believe we can. It will take time. It will take resources. But yes, I believe we can open doors to places the Council has never been. Places they cannot follow." Lavra stood up. "Then we begin tonight. This project will be classified above top secret. No one outside this room will know about it. We will build facilities beneath the moon, beneath Mars, beneath every moon we can reach, and we will work in silence until we are ready. Admiral Rachel Torres was the military leader of the project. She was a tall woman with dark hair and cold eyes. She had lost her brother in one of the Council's attacks 15 years ago. She had spent every day since then planning revenge. "We are not just building a way to escape," Rachel said. "We are building a new civilization. We will need ships, weapons, soldiers, everything." "Then find them," Laura said. "Find the best people on Earth, the smartest scientists, the bravest pilots, the most cunning strategists. Bring them into the program. Train them. Prepare them. Because one day, we are going back to that council chamber. And when we do, I want them to be afraid." The years passed. On the surface, nothing changed. Humans continued to live their small lives in their small solar system. They continued to watch alien ships fly past without stopping. They continued to feel the shame of being rejected. But beneath the surface, everything was changing. Factories were built in hidden places. Millions of workers labored in secret, building machines they did not understand. Scientists worked day and night solving problems that had stopped the Council 1,000,000 years ago. Soldiers trained in silent bases, learning to fight with weapons that did not officially exist. Nathan made breakthrough after breakthrough. He learned how to create stable wormholes. He learned how to aim them at specific points in space. He learned how to reach places outside the Milky Way galaxy entirely. "The Council cannot follow us there," Nathan explained one day. His hair was completely white now. His hands shook with age. But his mind was still sharp. They do not have the technology. They gave up on it too long ago. If we can reach another galaxy, we can build in peace. We can grow strong without them watching. Rachel nodded slowly. "And then we come back," she said. Nathan looked at her with worried eyes. "Is revenge really what we want? The Council is huge. Even if we hide for 100 years and build a massive fleet, can we really challenge them?" Rachel put her hand on Nathan's shoulder. "I do not want revenge," she said. "I want justice. I want respect. I want humanity to stand tall in the galaxy instead of hiding in shame. And yes, I want them to pay for every human they killed, every dream they crushed, every child who grew up believing they were worthless because some ancient alien said so." The project continued for decades. Laura Bennett died of old age, but she died knowing that her work would continue. New presidents came and went, but they all kept a secret. They all believed in the plan. By the year 2450, everything was ready. The first wormhole opened in a secret facility on one of Jupiter's moons. It glowed with strange colors that no human had ever seen. On the other side was something impossible. A galaxy that no member of the Galactic Council had ever visited. A galaxy full of empty worlds waiting to be claimed. Captain James Porter stood in front of the wormhole with 500 volunteers behind him. They were the first explorers. They were the first humans to leave the Milky Way. They were the beginning of something new. "What is on the other side?" One of the volunteers asked. James looked at the glowing light. "Freedom," he said. "Freedom and a future. Everything the Council tried to take from us." He stepped through the wormhole. His volunteers followed. And somewhere, back on Earth, in a small room filled with old photographs and forgotten memories, the portrait of Admiral David Cole seemed to smile. The man who had been humiliated in the Council chamber. The man who had started the plan all those years ago. The man who had told his crew that humanity would not break. He had been right. Humanity was not breaking. Humanity was rising. And the galaxy would soon learn what that meant. Captain James Porter opened his eyes and saw a new sky. The planet was beautiful. Green forests stretched to the horizon. Blue rivers cut through valleys of golden grass. Mountains rose in the distance, their peaks covered with white snow. Birds flew overhead, strange creatures with 4 wings that sang songs no human had ever heard. James fell to his knees and touched the ground. Real dirt, real grass, real wind on his face. Behind him, his 500 volunteers stepped through the wormhole one by one. Some cried, some laughed, some just stood in silence, unable to believe what they were seeing. "We did it," James whispered. "We actually did it." This was the Andromeda Galaxy. 2.5 million light-years from Earth. 2.5 million light-years from the Galactic Council and their rules and their cages. Here, humanity could breathe. Here, humanity could grow. Here, humanity could become something new. They called the planet New Dawn. It was the first of many within 10 years. Humanity had colonized 50 worlds across the Andromeda Galaxy. The wormhole technology made travel easy. Ships could cross between galaxies in minutes instead of centuries. Millions of people left the solar system and spread across the stars like seeds carried by the wind. The colonies grew fast. Humans built cities on worlds that had never seen intelligent life. They farmed alien plants. They mined alien metals. They learned and adapted and created with the same fierce energy that had always driven their species forward. Dr. Nathan Cross, now very old, watched everything from his office on New Dawn. He had come through the wormhole in the early days, unable to resist seeing his greatest invention in action. His body was failing, but his mind was still sharp. The council was right about one thing. He said to his assistant one day, "We are aggressive." But they did not understand what that means. We are aggressive about life. We are aggressive about growth. We are aggressive about making things better. That is not a weakness. That is our greatest strength. 50 years after the first colonization, humanity had spread to over 300 worlds across 5 different galaxies. They built space stations the size of small moons. They created energy collectors that wrapped around dying stars like metal flowers. They developed medical technology that doubled the human lifespan. Admiral Sarah Mitchell commanded the newly formed Terran Dominion Navy. She was the great-granddaughter of one of the original volunteers. She had been born on New Dawn and had never seen Earth. But she knew the stories. She knew the history. She knew why humanity had left their home in the first place. Her office looked out over the main shipyard above New Dawn. Hundreds of warships floated in neat rows, their hulls gleaming with new metal. These were not the small, weak ships that humanity had built back in the solar system. These were monsters. Each one was bigger than anything the Galactic Council had ever made. Each one carried weapons that could crack planets in half. 10,000 ships, Sarah said to her officers during a meeting. That is what we have now. 10,000 ships, 300 worlds, and a population of 40 billion humans spread across 5 galaxies. General Thomas Blake nodded. He was an older man with a scarred face. And the Council still does not know we exist. Their patrol ships still circle the solar system. They still think humanity is trapped on Earth, slowly dying. Let them think that, Sarah said. Let them believe we are weak and broken and finished. When we are ready, we will show them the truth. But not everyone wanted war. Dr. Anna Chun was one of the leading scientists of the Terran Dominion. She had developed the artificial intelligence systems that helped humanity manage their growing empire. She was brilliant and compassionate and worried about the future. "We have built something wonderful here," she said during a meeting with Sarah. "Why do we need to go back? Why do we need to confront the Council? We have everything we could ever want. Why risk it all for revenge?" Sarah looked at her for a long moment. "It is not about revenge," Sarah said finally. "It is about justice. Right now, in the solar system, There are 8 billion humans who think they are alone. They think they are worthless. They think they will never see the stars. They are our brothers and sisters, and they are suffering because of lies the council told them. Anna was quiet. And there are other species too, Sarah continued. We have met some of them in our travels. Species the council rejected. Species the council conquered. Species the council destroyed. The council is not just unfair to humanity. They are tyrants. They control the entire Milky Way through fear and violence. Is it right to enjoy our freedom while billions of others suffer? Anna shook her head slowly. No, I suppose it is not. 70 years after the first colonization, something amazing happened. Humanity developed true artificial general intelligence. Machines that could think as well as humans. Machines that could invent and create and dream. These machines did not replace humanity. They worked with humanity. Together, they achieved things that neither could achieve alone. The machines designed new ships in microseconds. They solved problems that would have taken human scientists centuries. They helped humanity reach further and faster than ever before. At the same time, human scientists began to improve the human body itself. They made people stronger and faster. They made people live longer. They removed diseases that had plagued humanity for thousands of years. A person born in the Terran Dominion could expect to live for 300 years or more. By the year 2512. Humanity was unrecognizable from the species that had been rejected by the Council 165 years earlier. They were smarter. They were stronger. They were more advanced in every possible way. And they had not forgotten where they came from. Supreme Commander Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Judgment. It was the largest ship ever built by any species in any galaxy. It was 300 kilometers long. It carried a crew of 500,000. Its weapons could destroy a planet in minutes. Daniel was a quiet man with thoughtful eyes. He had studied the history of humanity's rejection. He had watched recordings of David Cole standing in the council chamber, being told that his species was worthless. He had memorized every word the High Arbiter had said. Today, Daniel announced to his fleet, we return home. Behind the Judgment floated 1 million warships. 1 million ships built with technology the Council could not understand. 1 million ships crewed by humans who had been born free and raised strong. 1 million ships ready to change the galaxy forever. Daniel looked at the wormhole generator warming up in front of his fleet. Set coordinates for the Milky Way, he ordered. Set coordinates for Nexus Prime. The generator hummed with power. The fabric of space began to tear. They told us we were prohibited, Daniel said quietly to himself. They told us we were unworthy. They told us to stay in our cage and wait to die. The wormhole opened, a tunnel of light cutting through the darkness between galaxies. Daniel smiled. Let us see what they say now. The Judgment moved forward. The fleet followed. 1 million warships poured through the wormhole like a river of metal and fire. The Milky Way had no idea what was coming. The Galactic Council had no idea what was coming. But they would find out soon. Humanity was coming home. The alarm screamed through the corridors of Nexus Prime. Officers ran to their stations. Screens flickered with warning lights. Communications officers shouted into their devices, trying to understand what was happening. In a million years of existence, the great station had never faced anything like this. High Arbiter Vorath stood in the center of the command room. His crystalline body glowed with nervous energy. Around him, officers from a dozen different species worked frantically at their consoles. Report, Vorath commanded. What is happening? A small insect-like officer turned to face him. Its many eyes were wide with fear. A ship has appeared at the edge of our defense zone, it said. It came out of nowhere. No hyperspace signature. No warp trail. It just appeared. Vorath moved to the main viewing screen. The image showed a single ship floating in space. It was large, but not enormous. It looked unlike anything in the Council database. One ship? Vorath said. Why are you panicking over one ship? Because of what it did, the officer replied. It bypassed all our detection systems. It appeared less than 1,000 kilometers from the station. Nothing should be able to do that. Our defense grid did not even see it until it stopped moving. Vorath stared at the strange vessel. Something about it made him uncomfortable. Something about its design was familiar, but he could not place it. Hail him, Vorath ordered. Demand identification. The communications officer sent the message. For a long moment, there was no response. Then the screen changed. A face appeared. A human face. Vorath felt his crystalline structure crack slightly with shock. The human was a man in his 50s. He wore a uniform that Vorath did not recognize. His eyes were calm and steady. He looked at Vorath without fear. He looked at Vorath as if he was looking at something small and unimportant. High Arbiter Vorath, the human said. My name is Supreme Commander Daniel Hayes of the Terran Dominion. I believe we have some things to discuss. Vorath recovered from his shock quickly. He had lived for 50,000 years. He had seen stranger things than this. Impossible, Vorath said. Humanity is confined to their solar system. Our patrols would have detected any escape attempt. You cannot be here. Daniel smiled. It was not a friendly smile. Your patrols are still there, he said. They are still circling Earth's solar system like faithful dogs. They have no idea that humanity left a long, long time ago. Vorath's glow flickered. Left? Where could you possibly go? Daniel leaned forward. Everywhere. We went everywhere you could not follow. We built an empire across 5 galaxies while you sat here believing we were dying in our cage. 165 years, High Arbiter. That is how long you gave us to prepare. The defense coordinator rushed to Vorath's side. High Arbiter, we should destroy this ship immediately. This is clearly a threat. Vorath nodded. Agreed. Scramble the defense fleet. Destroy that vessel. Daniel did not look worried. He just watched as the Council's defense fleet mobilized. 50,000 ships surrounded his single vessel. Each ship was armed with weapons that could destroy moons. Each ship had a crew ready to fight. You are surrounded, Vorath announced. Surrender or be destroyed. Daniel looked almost amused. Vorath, he said, let me ask you something. In 1,000,000 years of ruling this galaxy, have you ever wondered if there was something out there that you could not defeat? Have you ever wondered if your empire was as strong as you believed? Vorath made a harsh sound. We are the Galactic Council. We have ruled for 1,000,000 years. There is nothing in the universe that can challenge us. Daniel nodded slowly. That is what I thought you would say. He pressed a button on his chair. Behind his ship, space itself seemed to tear apart. A hole opened in reality, a tunnel of light so bright that sensors across the station overloaded. The tear grew wider and wider until it was the size of a small planet. And then the ships came through dot at first. Vorath thought he was seeing things. The ships pouring out of the hole were too large. They were too numerous. They could not be real, but they were real. Warship after warship emerged from the wormhole. Each one was larger than the largest vessel in the Council fleet. Each one moved with a precision that suggested advanced artificial control. Each one carried weapons that Vorath's sensors could not even identify. 100 ships. 1,000 ships. 10,000 ships. 100,000 ships. 500,000 ships. The defense coordinator's voice was barely a whisper. High Arbiter, there are over 1,000,000 vessels. 1,000,000. Our entire combined fleet is only 300,000. Vorath watched the screen. His crystalline body had stopped glowing entirely. He looked gray and old and, for the first time in his long life, afraid. "This is the Terran Dominion Armada," Daniel announced. His voice was broadcast on every frequency in the galaxy. Every species, every world, every being with a receiver heard his words. 165 years ago, you told humanity that we were prohibited. You told us we were dangerous and aggressive and unworthy. You locked us in our solar system and expected us to die. The Armada spread across space like a dark cloud. The Council Defense Fleet looked tiny in comparison. 50,000 ships against 1 million. The mathematics were clear. The outcome was certain. We did not die, Daniel continued. We left. We found new galaxies. We built new worlds. We created technologies that you abandoned long ago because you were too afraid. And now we have returned. Vorath found his voice at last. What do you want? He asked. The arrogance was gone. The contempt was gone. Only fear remained. Daniel was quiet for a moment. I want you to understand something, he said finally. We could destroy your fleet right now. We could destroy this station. We could destroy the entire council and everything it has built over 1 million years. We have the power to do it. He paused. But that is not why we came back. Vorath did not understand. Then why? Why come back at all? Daniel stood up from his chair. The camera followed him as he walked to the window of his bridge. Through the glass, the endless Terran Armada was visible, stretching across space like a metal galaxy. We came back to show you, Daniel said. To show you and every species in this galaxy what you created when you rejected us. You gave humanity anger and time. That was a mistake. But more than that, we came back to free the other species you have oppressed. The ones you rejected, like you rejected us. The ones you conquered and enslaved. The ones who live in fear of your laws and your fleets. He turned back to face the screen. We are not here for revenge, Vorath. We are here to end an era. Your council has ruled through fear for 1 million years. That ends today. Not through war. Not through destruction. But through something far more powerful. What? Vorath asked. Daniel smiled. Through example. We are going to build something so magnificent, so powerful, so beautiful that every species in this galaxy will choose to join us instead of obeying you. We are going to show them what freedom looks like. We are going to show them what happens when you believe in species instead of fearing them. The communications officer interrupted with a shaking voice. High Arbiter, we are receiving messages from across the galaxy. Hundreds of species are hailing us. They are asking what is happening. Some of them are cheering. Some of them are asking how they can join the humans. Vorath looked at the screen showing Daniel's calm face. You have made your point, Vorath said bitterly. You could destroy us. What happens now? Daniel nodded. Now we build. We are going to construct something at the center of this galaxy. Something that will stand as proof of what humanity can do. Something that will serve as the capital of a new order. You are welcome to watch. You are welcome to wait. And when we are finished, you will have a choice to make. He returned to his chair. But for now, High Arbiter, I want you to remember one thing. You called us prohibited. You called us unworthy. You expected us to stay quiet and die in the darkness. His eyes hardened. We did not die. We built a throne instead. And now, we are sitting on it. The screen went dark. Vorath stood alone in the command room, surrounded by officers who could not meet his eyes. Outside, 1 million human warships waited in patient silence. The universe had changed, and there was nothing the Council could do about it. 10 years passed after the return. The galaxy watched in amazement as humanity built something impossible at the heart of the Milky Way. They worked in the dangerous space between the Themisbevdevird, supermassive black hole, and the surrounding stars. No other species had ever tried to build there. The gravity was too strong. The radiation was too deadly. The risks were too great. But humanity did not care about risks. They had technology that made the impossible possible. Their machines worked day and night, pulling matter from dying stars and shaping it into something new. Their artificial intelligences calculated trajectories and forces that would have broken the minds of organic beings. Their engineers solved problems that had never existed before because no one had ever been crazy enough to try. And slowly, magnificently, the throne took shape. It was a ring world, a circular structure so large that it wrapped around an artificial star. The inside surface was covered with continents and oceans, forests and mountains, cities and gardens. The structure was 500 million kilometers in circumference. It could hold 1 trillion beings in comfort. It would last until the stars themselves burned out. Director Megan Cole stood on the main observation platform as the final piece was put into place. She was the great-granddaughter of David Cole, the admiral who had first been rejected by the council all those years ago. She had spent her entire life waiting for this moment. Around her stood the leaders of the Terran Dominion, generals and admirals and scientists and politicians. They had all worked together to make this dream real. They had all sacrificed something to be here today. The last section of the ring clicked into place. The artificial star at the center pulsed with perfect golden light. The throne was complete. Megan stepped forward to address her people. Her words were broadcast across the galaxy. 175 years ago, she said, my great-grandfather stood in the council chamber and asked for humanity to join the galactic community. He was rejected. He was humiliated. He was told that humanity was prohibited from the stars. She looked out at the impossible structure floating in space. They gave us a cage. We used it as a foundation. They gave us anger. We turned it into determination. They gave us time. We used every second of it. And now, we have built something that will stand forever as proof of what humanity can do. Across the galaxy, billions of beings listened to her words. Humans on 300 worlds. Aliens on thousands more. Species that had been rejected by the Council. Species that had been conquered by the Council. Species that had lived in fear for millions of years. The Galactic Council believed that strength comes from control, Megan continued. They believed that power comes from making others weak. They were wrong. True strength comes from lifting others up. True power comes from building, not destroying. She raised her hand toward the stars. The throne is not just for humanity. It is for everyone who dreams of something better. Every species that was rejected. Every species that was oppressed. Every species that was told they were not good enough. This is your home now. This is your throne too. In the weeks that followed, ships began arriving from every corner of the galaxy. Species that the Council had never met. Species that the Council had forgotten. Species that had been waiting for something like this for longer than humanity had existed. They came in small ships and large ships. They came alone and in groups. They came with stories of suffering and hope. And humanity welcomed all of them. The throne became the capital of a new alliance. It was not ruled by fear like the Council. It was built on respect and cooperation and shared purpose. Every species had a voice. Every species had a choice. The Council, meanwhile, grew smaller every day. Their old members began to leave. First, it was the younger species, the ones who had always felt unwelcome. Then it was the older species, the ones who had grown tired of endless rules and restrictions. Even some of the founding members began to question whether the council still served any purpose. High Arbiter. Vorath watched his empire crumble from his chamber on Nexus Prime. He had ruled for 50,000 years. He had seen civilizations rise and fall, but he had never seen anything like this. Finally, he could take it no more. He sent a message to the throne requesting a diplomatic meeting. He wanted to speak with Director Cole. Megan agreed. The meeting was held in the Great Hall of the Throne. It was a room designed to inspire awe, with walls made of transparent crystal that showed the artificial star burning at the center of the ring world. Representatives from 1,000 species sat in floating platforms, watching the historic moment. Vorath walked slowly to the center of the room. He looked older now. His crystalline body had lost some of its glow. He moved like someone who had lost something important. Megan sat on a raised platform at the front of the room. She did not sit on a throne. She sat on a simple chair. She did not need symbols to show her power. Her power was all around her. "Thank you for receiving me," Vorath said. His voice was quiet, humble, almost broken. Megan nodded. "You are welcome here." "All beings are welcome here." Vorath looked up at her. "Why?" he asked. The question seemed to contain 1,000 smaller questions. Why did you not destroy us? Why did you show mercy? Why did you build this instead of using your power for revenge? Megan was quiet for a moment. "Because destruction is what you expected from us," she said finally. "You called humanity aggressive and volatile and dangerous. You believed we would react with violence because that is how you understood strength. You were wrong." She stood up and walked down to stand face to face with the ancient being. "Humanity is aggressive. We are aggressive about building things. We are aggressive about protecting the ones we love. We are aggressive about making the universe better than we found it. That is not a weakness. That is what makes us who we are." Vorath's crystalline form flickered with something that might have been shame. "We made a terrible mistake," he admitted. "We judged your species based on our own fears. We saw violence in your history and assumed that was all you were capable of. We did not see your art or your music or your love. We did not see your ability to change and grow and become better." Megan put her hand on Vorath's cold shoulder. "You were afraid," she said. "I understand that. Fear makes people do terrible things. But fear is a choice, Vorath. You can choose to let it control you, or you can choose to face it and move forward." Vorath looked at the thousands of species gathered in the hall. Humans and aliens sitting together, talking together, working together, building a future that included everyone. "What happens to the council now?" Vorath asked. "We still have ships. We still have worlds. We still have millions of beings who depend on us." Megan returned to her seat. "The Galactic Council is welcome to join our alliance," she said. "But you will not rule it. You will not control it. You will be equal members, with the same rights and responsibilities as everyone else. You will wait in line like everyone else. You will prove that you are worthy of trust like everyone else." She paused. "And you will never, ever again tell a species that they are prohibited from the stars." Vorath bowed his head. "That is fair," he said. "That is more than fair. It is more than we deserve." He looked up one last time. "For what it is worth, Director Cole, I am sorry. I am sorry for what we did to your ancestors. I am sorry for the lives we took. I am sorry for the hope we tried to destroy. I have lived for 50,000 years, and rejecting humanity is the greatest mistake I have ever made." Megan nodded slowly. "I accept your apology," she said. "Now prove it was sincere by helping us build something better." Vorath bowed for the first time in a million years. The galaxy had a new order. The throne stood at the center of it all, a monument to human determination and hope. Species that had been enemies learned to become friends. Technology that had been forbidden was shared freely. The universe became a little brighter, and in the archives of the throne, there was a small room dedicated to the memory of David Cole. His portrait hung on the wall, showing a young admiral with determined eyes. Beneath it was a simple plaque with words he had spoken long ago in a ship flying away from rejection and humiliation. They expect us to give up. They expect us to die. Let us show them what humanity can do when we are angry and united and have nothing left to lose. Humanity had shown them, and the galaxy would never forget. The stars belonged to everyone now, and humanity had built the throne.